Hello, today we're going to be talking about primary and secondary sources and how they apply to historical methods and media literacy. So, we're going to be talking about media literacy, kind of the why of why we look at primary and secondary sources. We'll explain the difference, the what, and then we'll have some example problems and some things to talk over, identifying the who and the when and all the other W's. Our I will statement today is going to be that I will be able to explain the difference between a primary source and a secondary source. Let's get into it. So, media literacy, what is it and why does it matter? Coming from the website on media literacy, it is the ability to encode and decode the symbols transmitted via media and synthesize, analyze, and produce mediated messages. This basically means that you are able to consume media responsibly, and you are able to draw your own conclusions based on what you're being fed, what's being fed through the internet, through any kind of media you consume, whether that's through newspaper, TVs, like I said, the internet, books, all of that. So, some things to note is that a source should never be taken at face value. This is because sources can imply all kinds of things. It's not only what is written down, but it's about who's writing it, when it was written, why it was written, and what the significance of all of that put together is. It promotes higher quality analysis and critical thinking skills. A case study that we're going to go over, which basically just means that we're going to look at this specific example, is the US Constitution. So, this primary source, if you can see, is the US Constitution. So a primary source is the document itself. So when you're thinking about, oh, I have to pull a primary source, what is it versus a secondary source, you are looking for something that is an original account in some shape or form. This could be a recording, it could be an interview, diaries, data about that specific time or recorded during that time, and you are able to synthesize the information that's going on within it. There is no synthesis within the actual document or media that you're consuming. And there can be, let's say you take a newspaper that was written during the time that the US Constitution was written. That could be a primary source if you're doing a historical PowerPoint or presentation on just that time period in general. But if you're looking for things about the Constitution, the most primary you're going to get is the Constitution itself, because it was written during that time and it was written for this purpose. And yeah, you're really looking for firsthand accounts, original documents. If it looks old, you're probably on the right track. So, a secondary source, if we look at this, is a CNN US article on Constitution Fast Facts. This would be a secondary source because it is a summary and interpretation. Like I said before, it is synthesizing information from primary sources. That is a telltale sign that something is a secondary source. And so, textbooks, web articles, newspaper clips that were not contemporary with the event or thing. Contemporary meaning it didn't happen at the same time. So this is going to be your very quick knowledge check. We're just going to go through some true or false questions. A newspaper article from 2020 about the War of 1812 is a primary source. I'll give you a few seconds to think. This would be false because this would be a secondary source. This would not be a primary source. If it was a newspaper article contemporary with the War of 1812, then it might be considered a primary source. For the next one, media literacy enhances critical consumption of media. This is going to be true. And for our last one, a recorded interview from a protest against the Vietnam War is a primary source. This is also true. because it's from, like I said, contemporary with the time of the Vietnam War. And you can go through the 5 W's and see that it does match up with what we learned. So that is all I have. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this is helpful as just a quick check on your understanding of primary and secondary sources.